Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Brandyberry, Managing Editor of Motor Age Magazine. Today I'm talking with Brian Canning, who is one of our contributing editors. He writes management pieces for Motor Age. So Brian, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Shannon. Glad to be here.
Thanks. Brian, today we're going to talk about one of your latest columns. You wrote about snackable content and making sure that the information that you want to get out to your customers is readily available in bite-sized pieces. So let's talk about that. Why is shorter, snackable better than in-detail, in-depth information? I mean, we are talking about some complex systems here.
Well, and it's something that I think only the advent of the internet, digital age, all that, and some studies that are done in conjunction with all that, is that human beings process information as they're reading it. Let's word it this way. Visually, they process visual stimuli 60,000 times faster than when they read something. And snackable content tries to be very visual, very graphic, but tries to communicate very, very in-depth, but very, very precise, very quick, and really just almost as a reminder of what you're trying to get them to think about, to accomplish, or do. It can be something as, they have these proximity apps on your phone that you drive in the vicinity of your shop or your dentist or whoever. Have you changed your oil? It can really say whatever you want, or it even goes one further and it just shows a picture of an oil can or of your car broken down or something, or in the case of your dentist, it shows somebody torturing you. But whatever they want you to see, it's visual, and too many of us are doing this where we're driving, walking, or whatever. It just tries to give you a very impactful message without you having to stop, read, whatever you're doing, and again, 60,000 times faster than reading it, you get to see, oh, I have an oil change that's due.
Okay. That's all true, and like you said, we are all so much busier nowadays, and one thing that I think a lot of people, especially younger generations, are more busy with, they're busier on social media, and that's one way they get a lot of information. So how can you tie some of the snackable content, how can you tie that in your social media with into your waiting room into these ideas?
Well, I look at it this way. Touching that phone, touching the person's computer, touching their tablet, wherever they're living, and most of us, let's face it, have a smartphone, and they're have their face shoved in that, most of the day. And I'm a geezer, and I'm in my phone all day long. The point is that you want to be where they are, and you want to create that. I guess it would be a circle or just a process that has them see as they're doing their normal activities during the day. They see reminders. They see things that talk about their car. They walk into your shop, and it has to be an extension of those things they've been seeing on social media. Things like oil service or tires, and again, they're not going to read. But having pamphlets, having visual, posters, things like that show, graphically, tires last 80,000 miles, or oil change extends the life of your engine by hundreds of thousands of whatever. But you really want to just create a situation where they see you on social media. They walk in your waiting room, they're seeing it. As they're checking out the car, they're saying, oh, my battery says on my phone, it says check my battery, so that when you finally come to them with service recommendations, it's just an extension of that social media. It's not you coming out of left field, which is what used to happen. They knew they were there to get service, but they're kind of just sitting there waiting nervous. If we do it right, social media kind of just tells them that they might want to think about a snack. Getting them into the waiting room as they're standing in line, waiting to get their fries. And when we finally come up and talk to them, about what they need, well, then it's possibly dinner time. And there's even one other piece in that puzzle is our website. Again, we want to have a place where they can go to follow up on, because any snackable content needs to have a home. And if they see it across their phone, there needs to be some sort of follow-up they can do, and we want to have that on our website so that if there's an article or that graphic with the the extended mileage or whatever, that they can have a home for it. So it's not always relying on us to communicate, hey, you need to change your oil. That there's constant communication, very subtle, very quiet, that says these are things that you need to think about and things you're going to want to do.
Okay. Well, setting out the information, like setting it out in your waiting room, putting pamphlets out, signage up, or even putting the information out on social media is one thing, but getting the consumer to actually digest it is another. So how do you do that? Is there any training that a service writer should look for, or try to take part in?
Well, absolutely, because isn't it terrible that we have these apps that are telling them that, hey, check your battery. We have nice pamphlets sitting in our waiting room, hey, check your battery, and explaining to them what a battery does for you. The website has a big graphic of a battery and talks about battery life. They come up to the counter and, hey, you want us to check your exhaust? And we're not extending. So again, we have to be the extension of all of those things. And to me, it's almost bait and switch, or it may come across as bait and switch if we're doing all these things to recommend they come in and check and all that other, and then all of a sudden we're talking about over in left field about something else entirely. Not bait and switch, but I think it's important that we set an expectation with social media, or begin to set that expectation. We continue it as they're standing and waiting in our waiting area, and then if we don't talk about it when they're having that actual human interaction, I think we're missing an opportunity. We've spent all that money on social media and snackable content, and then we just forget about it. So you have to take that service advisor, service manager, and he has to understand what our priorities are this month, the things we're talking about. If it's, right now, I know in Cleveland, you talk about your battery. It's winter. Make sure your car's ready for the cold. But in another month or so, you're going to be talking about, get ready for air conditioning, get ready, for all those things. And it's just constantly educating our customers with little snippets, little snacks of things that we want them to think about. I suppose you could say it's sneaky, but honestly, I'd rather get these little reminders than having some, big bald guy telling me I need brakes. I'm talking about myself, of course. That it allows me to at least absorb it intellectually. Eventually, I have to talk to that guy, but eventually, I'm going to know coming in the door that these are some things that I'm thinking about. And if it works, if it's done as well as it can be, that guy's walking up to the counter and asking me about that battery, rather than me having to, ambush him when he's not expecting it.
Yep. Plant the seed and be ready to have the conversation and kind of get ready to get the conversation growing. So.
Exactly.
Brian, I want to thank you so much for joining me again today to talk about your latest piece for Motor Age. So, and out to all of our viewers, thank you for watching too, and we will see everyone back here again to talk about Brian's next writing piece for Motor Age. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Shannon.